Hello, good evening. This is News Night on Metro Television. It's midweek's edition. I am Ignatius Anom. Let me run by you our top stories making headlines this hour. 22 circuit judges and magistrates suspended with immediate effect following expose by Anas Aremiyao Anas. National Development Planning Commission to soon sanction political parties who fail to carry out functions enshrined in the 40-year development plan. The Institute of Statistical, Social and Economic Research (ISE) predicts Ghana's economy will shrink in 2016. And later, deadly sandstorm continues to blanket Middle East. Details of these and many more stories momentarily. It's undoubtedly one of the biggest scandals to hit the judiciary in Ghana's history. The massive expose by internationally acclaimed Ghanaian investigative journalist Anas Aremiyao Anas is already shaking the very foundation of the Judicial Council. Here is an idea of exactly what the investigative journalist is about to do, which has already caused a stir in Ghana's judicial system.
As the court proceedings were going on, 3 people in a room, 1 was dead.
I'm not surprised.
Huge problems like genocide begins with one individual.
I remember the day everybody was agitated.
Wherever the decision is going to fall.
I would dare you to go and line up some of your finest policemen, some of your finest heads, some of your finest, what you call it, judges.
All right, so that's actually just a teaser on what Anas Aremiyao Anas is working on, which has already shaken the very foundation of the judicial system. The entire documentary is yet to air, but already there's some panic within the judicial system. 22 judges and magistrates who were cited in that latest corruption expose by Anas Aremiyao Anas have been suspended by the Judicial Council. The decision was taken after the Chief Justice and the Judicial Council examined the video evidence of malfeasance brought against them by Anas.
To a statement from the Judicial Council, a petition for the removal from office of the 22 Circuit Court judges and magistrates was directed to the Chief Justice to deal with under Article 151 of the Constitution. An emergency Judicial Council meeting was held on 2nd September 2015 to discuss the matter, and the following decisions and measures were taken. 1. A disciplinary committee of the Judicial Council was constituted to investigate the petition against the 22 judges and magistrates. It is a 5-member committee chaired by a Justice of the Supreme Court. 2. On September 7, 2015, the circuit judges and magistrates were served with letters stating the allegations against them and asked to submit their responses by September 9, 2015. 3. The Judicial Council further decided that upon receipt of the responses, the 22 judges and magistrates have accordingly been suspended with effect from Thursday, September 10, 2015, the statement said. A total of 34 judges may face impeachment as the video expected to be aired on September 22 entangles the judges in the damning corruption scandal. One of the high-profile judges includes Justice John Ajet Nassam, a High Court judge who freed Alfred Agbesi Woyome in the controversial 25 million cedis judgment debt scandal, was videotaped and audio recorded in separate conversations with suspects or persons acting as agents of suspects before him to compromise big cases. Other judges are Human Rights Court Judge Kofi Esel-Mensah and Charles Quist, a High Court judge. The over 2 years painstaking investigations by ace investigative journalist Anas Aremoyaw Anas will be released in full in the coming weeks ahead of a premiere at the Accra International Conference Centre.
All right, so should Ghanaians be made to have a sneak peek into that particular investigative report that is already causing a huge stir in the country? Shortly, we'll hear from the Ghana Anti-Corruption Coalition. But before that, here's an opinion of renowned lawyer Ace Ankuma, who is not entirely surprised at the expose.
It's a surprise and not a surprise. I think that everybody knows that once the judiciary is a reflection of society, there is corruption in the judiciary. Nobody can deny that. I think that numerous chief justices have said that. The surprise is seeing the evidence the way it has been captured. Normally, bribery will be between two people, and none of them would come out to admit that I bribed somebody or I received a bribe, because each of them is culpable, each of them is guilty, the giver and the taker. In this instance, it is a person who went out and sought out the judges and paid them the bribe, who filmed the delivery of the bribe of the alleged bribery. So that's how we have the evidence. So technically, it is somebody who took a part, who partook in the crime, who has made this film and has filed the petitions. And so that is the interesting thing about it. So it is surprising that we finally have, as they say, ocular evidence, and it's not surprising because we've always known that this happens. I'm impressed with the speed with which the Judicial Council appears to be working. I understand that disciplinary hearings begin from tomorrow with respect to the lower court judges. And then I understand that the President has also put in place the procedure for the Superior Court judges. And so it appears to me that the system is working. The jury is out, we don't know what will happen, but the confidence of Ghanaians in the judicial system and in the political system will depend on the results that we get from this, from the process being allowed to work and the results that come out of it.
It's an issue that is already getting murkier, even when the public has no idea what has been worked on now. Let's get on the phone lines and speak to an independent legal practitioner, lawyer Chris Akume. Good evening. Thank you for joining me on Newsnight.
Thank you, and good evening.
Right. Let me first find out from you, ever since news broke about this alleged corruption in the judiciary, as a legal practitioner, what has been going through your mind?
Thank you. I am not surprised about the revelation of corruption in the judiciary, because it's something which I was very privy to research about some time ago. So everybody was just a perception that that kind of reality that is actually exists. So now that we have more evidence pointing out to the corruption, I believe that everybody is going to speak up, and then we tackle this matters in the society, most especially the judiciary of the whole institution.
Ghanaians are already sitting on the edge because they have no idea what has been filmed, but the leadership of the judicial service have a sneak peek, and so 22 magistrates and high court judges have been suspended. Is that welcoming? Is that not going to disturb the already panicked Ghanaian?
I don't think that, you serve any the system or the institution of the judiciary, because as you can see, the Judicial Council is up to the task of the institution. And then, at the end of the day, when they have their first right, they know what to do. I really don't think that work, it would be any disturbance to find the judicial.
Well, some of the judges in this expose, we understand, have tendered in their resignation, but those letters have been rejected. Would you support calls, or, for instance, that there should be some prosecution of a sort, if indeed what we know out there is really what it is?
If you are being investigated, it means that there's something untoward that has happened on your part. So, as the investigation is completed, I think it would be unacceptable to want to decide. Proper, I think it's fair and okay on the part of the Judicial Council to refuse the resignation of the investigation is complete, to ascertain the veracity of the involvement this way or the other.
Many thanks to you. I appreciate your time with me on Newsnight. Lawyer Chris Akume is an independent legal practitioner. Let's still stay on this subject a little longer. Executive Secretary of the Ghana Anti-Corruption Coalition has called on the Chief Justice to resist any attempt by certain perceived powerful individuals to truncate the airing of the investigative report by Anas Arembiaw Anas on corruption in the judiciary.
I always say that fighting corruption is a leadership issue. It is a leadership matter. It is a political commitment, an institutional commitment. That's why I'm saying that the Chief Justice should come into this matter and make sure that no lawyer or judge or any individual who, one way or the other, is likely to be found culpable under this particular case should be given the audacity or have the right to stop the airing of this video, because we are in an era of open governance. Ghana has signed on to the Open Government Partnership, where everything is supposed to be transparent. We are supposed to be accountable in our dealings, in our actions and inactions. This is the time for us to test whether Ghana is really participating open governance. And I'm calling on the institutional head to make sure that no individual, we shouldn't allow impunity to continue so far as the fight against corruption is concerned. We have gotten to levels. I want to see this. It's a test case for us to bridge the gap between perceptions of corruption in the judiciary and the reality. I am waiting and very eager to see this video. And when it does happen, we will just recommend that the Chief Justice actually has done in the past, and I commend her for that, should make sure that the proper investigations are conducted, and any individual who is found culpable is actually dealt with appropriately according to the law of the land.
It is not an issue that will likely go down anytime soon. All things being equal, we understand on the 22nd of September this year, that particular documentary will air at the Accra International Conference Center. Metro News will follow the leads and keep you updated right here on Metro Television. Newsnight will be right back. Hi there, I am Ignatius Ano and this is News Night. Parliament will soon pass a law to get the National Development Planning Commission a legal backing to sanction any political party who fail to go by the functions as prescribed in the 40-year National Development Plan.
Director General of the National Development Planning Commission, NDPC, Dr. Nimoy Thompson, disclosed this to Metro News and said the move is to bind all successive governments to bring focus to national development. The 40 years National Development Plan is the first ever long-term development agenda Ghana has ever had. Even before it officially takes off in 2018, various consultations are currently ongoing to ensure the strategies are effectively carried out.
This next medium-term development plan will have to be situated within the strategic context of a long-term national development plan. That's how the world is going now, and we need to begin to move in that area. Along with the fact that it will be broken down into 10 medium-term plans which start in 2018, there are also going to be 10 elections between 2020 and 2056. So, like it or not, there are going to be these things.
Director General GNPC Dr. Nimoy Thompson also disclosed the next phase of deliberations will have 2 representatives from all political parties, one of whom is responsible for the preparation of the manifesto of their party.
So that there's a link, there's some sort of a synergy and synchronization between the manifestos that the political parties will eventually prepare and the overall framework or the long-term development plan that we are all collectively also working to endure.
NDPC says it would open up the process to other members of the public, including persons with disability and the private sector.
2016 presidential candidate of the opposition New Patriotic Party, Nana Addo Dankwa Akufo-Addo, has asked President John Mahama to accord Ghanaians with some measure of intelligence, as his one-touch victory refrain is clearly an insult to them.
According to Nana Addo Dankwa Akufo-Addo, Ghanaians have experienced and continue to experience untold hardships in their livelihoods under the Mahama-led NDC government and will vote wisely and elect a competent government that will solve their problems in the 2016 general elections. He questioned President Mahama if messing up the economy, citing high exchange rates, erratic power supply or dumso, increased in utility tariffs, widespread corruption and constant increase in prices of goods and services, youth unemployment, collapsed healthcare and education systems warrant a one-touch victory as he's demanding from Ghanaians. He continued, quote, "Ghanaians are smarter than you think. They are discerning and they will vote in 2016 based on their livelihoods. They will take a look at their standard of living and they will then cast their vote," unquote. The NPP flag bearer made this known in Nkokwo on day 2 of his 3-day tour of the Eastern region, where he interacted with party faithful comprising regional and constituency executives, as well as the 9 parliamentary candidates and their competitors. Whilst charging NPP members to remain resolute and firm in the party's quest to winning the 2016 elections, he reiterated his call for party members to desist from resorting to the media to discuss internal party issues.
Meanwhile, his vice presidential candidate, Dr. Mahmoud Bawumia, says the 7-year tenure of the ruling NDC has been marked by a combination of incompetence and corruption, resulting in what he terms wahala the Ghanaian people are facing.
Addressing party faithful at Nkokwo on the Rise and Build tour, Dr. Mahmoud Bawumia stated that the 7-year NDC government from 2009 has received tax revenue 5 times the total tax revenue the NPP received in 8 years under President Kufuor. Additionally, record export revenues from cocoa and gold over the 7 years period, coupled with the $3 billion in oil revenues, points to a government that has received resources like no other in the 58-year history of Ghana. In addition to the revenues, the NPP vice presidential candidate stated that since 1990, no country has accumulated debt like Ghana has. Dr. Bawumia revealed that when the NDC came into office, Ghana's total debt level was 9.5 billion cedis. It is now 90.5 billion cedis in just 7 years, adding that the Mahama-led administration will end this year with a debt level at over 110 billion cedis.
Welcome back from the break. This is Metro Television. Let's do the business news. The Institute of Statistical, Social and Economic Research is projecting that the Ghanaian economy will shrink in the latter part of 2015 through to 2016 due to government's inability to solve the energy crisis. The Institute made these projections as it launched its report on the performance of the Ghanaian economy in 2014.
The economy has seen some downturn in recent months, owing to a protracted power crisis which government has largely failed to resolve. The Institute, during the launch of the 2014 Economic Performance Report, stated that the power budgets expected from Turkey will not make any difference.
When the power budgets come, I keep on asking, the businesses that have collapsed, how are they coming back? When the budgets come, right, for people who've been out of job, how are they going to get their jobs back? Those are the issues that we have to address. If we get all the energy we need today, how are we going to correct what has happened in the last 6 months? And those are things that we should be discussing.
On the microeconomic projections, Professor Felix Asante, coordinator of the State of the Ghanaian Economy Report 2014, said Ghana continues to fall below the sub-Saharan growth average, an indication of the country's poor performance. Another issue that will account for the poor performance of the country is the falling price of Ghana's major commodities, gold, cocoa and crude oil. But Professor Kwabna Anaman, a fellow of the Institute, disagrees with the findings.
Performance of the economy is likely to improve next year, largely on the back of improved performance of the industrial sector due to completion of a whole variety of new projects and the ending of the weather phenomenon that I mentioned about the El Nino thing. So that alone should allow growth to pick up. The other issue we have to look at is the extent of the commodity price drop in terms of the oil prices. We have to monitor that. But we also see cocoa price picking up.
He intimates that the power crisis will soon end, leading to a revival of the private sector. He, however, criticized government for failing to put in place adequate plans to end the energy crisis.
All right, so that's business for you, but my colleague Prince is on standby. He has all the details in the world of sports on Newsnight this evening. Prince, what's trending?
Well, we'll be taking our viewers to Congo, Brazzaville to be precise. The All Africa Games is still ongoing. Not so good news for Ghana. Ghana lost in the football category, the male category. We lost to our dreaded opponents, Nigeria. Not too good news.
We don't seem to be bothered by that, are we?
We don't seem to be bothered, but at least we have one last game to for us to maintain our position in terms of participation in the All Africa Games. But of course, there's some good news from the boxing arena as well. I will be telling our viewers that in a bit.
Thank you. Take it up now.
Sports is next. Thank you very much for joining us. My name is Prince Anna. Now, the Black Meteors this afternoon lost to their Nigerian counterparts, the Dream Team, by 2-0 in their second match of the ongoing All-Africa Games. The Meteors have so far managed just a point from 2 matches after drawing goalless with Senegal. Nigeria have bagged maximum points courtesy a 5-0 drubbing of Congo.
That's the second match, at least for Ghana in Group B, as they get ready to take on bitter rivals Nigeria. Strong play there. from the fullback Udo, and he's now released Daniel, who's really playing a prominent role now. Lovely ball whipped across, and it's the game's opening goal. And a great moment for Junior Ajayi Oluwafemi. Will send the small band of Nigerian fans wild as the Dream Team look to put Ghana to the sword. Well, Daniel made a terrific run. He's really been the creative spark they've needed. A simple tap-in. Lovely one-touch stuff. Beautiful ball over the top. Oh, it's a fantastic second. And secures a much-deserved victory for Nigeria. The Dream Team playing as such. Wonderful football on the edge of the 6-yard box. And the picture-perfect finish to round off an excellent victory. Lovely play between Sukari and the captain of Ketchkawu.
Sad story it is there for the Black Beaters, but equally sad story from the volleyball courts, where the female team lost to their Egyptian counterparts 0-3 in their third match. Had earlier on beaten Congo by 3-0 and lost 1-3 to Senegal. The men face Seychelles tomorrow morning. But some good news in boxing. Two boxers, Azuma Mohammed in the light welterweight category and Musa Rahman, a welterweight, are through to the next stage. Meanwhile, Jesse Latte, Suleiman Tete and Akimus Ampia all lost their opening bouts. However, Omar Yusuf made amends in the bantamweight and he's also through. That's it for sports. Back to Ignatius.
Many thanks to you, Prince. He'll see you again tomorrow for the very latest. Let's do some international news before I check out now. Clouds of sand cut visibility.
Public institutions over health concerns.
To seek medical
a health ministry official told the news agency the sandstorm, which entered its third day on Wednesday, caused the deaths of 4 people in the country, while sending as many as 2,000.
And that's how we'll end News Night, which came to you live from our studios at Labone in Accra. Also on DSTV channel 277. The news team will join you at 11 p.m. for the late edition of the news. I am Ignatius Ano. I thank you for watching. Good evening.